Crafty Mavens. Welcome to Scrappy Chats with Megan and Hannah. How are you guys doing today? How are you, Megan?
Hello, I'm good. Doing great. I'm getting over being sick, so I'm getting better.
No, there's just been a ton of sicknesses going around. Everybody's been sick. My mom was sick last week. My client's
Yeah.
sister was sick a couple of weeks ago for a couple of weeks. So we
Yeah.
haven't gotten anything. I mean, I've been like teetering on almost having a cold, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's like we're just gonna pretend that I don't have blow my nose all the time.
Right. I know. That's kind of what we all have to do, especially
Yeah.
when we have work and life outside of being
Right.
sick.
Right. And kids that are just constantly coming home with, well, your kids, my kids don't come
Yeah.
home with stuff because, well, I
Oh,
shouldn't say that. I'm sure they get stuff from some of the activities they do, but it's a lot less.
yeah, not as
Yeah.
much as
I
mine. Like
probably get,
I think my kids have been sick. Well, Ashley's kids have been sick for
yeah.
like a month. So,
Well, I feel like whoever didn't get sick around the holiday season, they're just getting it now. I think it's,
now,
and now everybody's back in school. And so, 'tis
yep,
life, and it's cold,
yep,
so most people aren't opening up doors or windows or whatever, because it's too cold, especially where you guys are. But we had a
right.
cold snap this last week, and we had snow a couple of weeks. Well, I say snow.
Yeah.
No. The other night, though, when I came home from work, there was about an inch or two maybe,
Wow.
and so it was all slushy and grody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's been snowing today and yesterday and Saturday and
yeah.
yeah, it's been gross here. So,
Well, and the bad thing is we're not prepared for the snow here. So
right.
when it snows, it's like everybody, one doesn't know how to drive on it. So you either get the really fast idiots or you get the people who are going like 2 miles an hour, which also makes it dangerous. And we don't salt roads very often. So sometimes if they know it's gonna snow significantly, they'll go out before and put a little bit of something. But then
Hmm.
sometimes they'll do the main roads with like a dirt mix. But
Yeah.
it has to be a decent amount of snow for them to even bother doing that. And it's not any of the side roads. It's usually just the main roads. And even like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just fun. It's just fun. It's a
It's
fun
like
experience. And it's like every year we get something where it's kind of like this, but every few years we get a big chunk. And well, I thought we were going to get more. I don't think we are though. So
yeah, that would be nice.
it's
It's
fun.
been it has been a weird winter
Well,
here,
it's
even in
it's an
Idaho.
El Nino, I think, this year. So they did say that the patterns were changing again. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's always fun. We've been really cold though lately, and then now this week it's warm. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Because I feel like that makes people sick more too when it's like you're jumping from
Yeah.
hot to cold, hot to cold. It's hard
Yep.
to know how to heat your house and all that fun stuff. But anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, Megan. So real quick, tell everybody if they don't watch your shorts and follow you, what have you been doing this week?
This weekend. Oh yes, it was a really busy weekend. I bought a new printer, a brand new printer, which I have been wanting to do for like a year to 2 years now. And I finally just got it. And so I was putting that in and rearranging like my scrapbooking space. So remember a couple weeks ago we talked about our scrapbooking
Yeah,
spaces
we did.
and I sent you pictures and everything, and now my scrapbooking space looks different.
You
So,
should send me pictures again. Send me
okay,
new
I'll
pictures and
send
we'll
you,
post it in
yeah.
the group.
Okay, I'll send you some more pictures and I mean it mostly stayed the same. It was just we moved our dresser and added an extra desk. And it does feel a little bit more open. So I'm really excited about that. So like my scrapbooking space is just all along the wall and then I have a window and so it's all just a scrapbooking space now, which is really nice. It feels more open and
Yeah.
free. So And I did do some printing of photos and I printed off a bunch of stuff for like my wedding. And I'm really, really, really happy with the printer. Like,
Well,
really
that's good.
happy. So,
I feel like it does really good, like when you're doing math stuff, like with the homeschooling stuff I have to print, it is like the one that I have, which I know you have a different model because you have the big one, which is,
mhm.
I mean, I'm low-key jealous, but not really because I don't know if I would do the big prints that very often. But
Yeah.
like when you're doing a lot of projects and stuff like with stuff like that, I feel like it works excellent and it's amazing. It's relatively fast, it's not very loud. So that part of
Yeah.
the Epson ones are really nice. It's just figuring out, I think, the paper that you need to use for the
Hmm.
project you need to use. I feel like that's where
Exactly. Yeah.
they're not as good about letting you know, like, hey, so you just have to play around with the paper.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, the Epson paper is going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I am going to have to play around with different types of papers, different companies, and see which one works best with this printer and make sure that, like, because I do like high quality prints and, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, I am really, really picky when it comes to like printing. So I probably will have to go to Amazon and just like buy one of every kind of paper and just see
Mhm.
which one works.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited about that. I'm really excited. I've never had a printer at home. I've been a scrapbooker for God, like 30 years, and I've never had a printer.
That
And so this is really exciting.
Oh, I bet. See, and
Yeah.
that's one thing I invested early on in is
Yeah,
getting
you
a
did.
printer. And I've always got the dual one so we could use it at home for other
Right.
things and not just pictures. But like, and honestly, it has worked out really nicely. I mean, even though I'm not as big of a fan with printing pictures on this Epson, like honestly, for all that it does, it is a really good printer. It just is not as consistent. I mean, we talked about that, but
Yeah.
with pictures,
Yeah.
I feel like the digital stuff I printed, I feel like it does pretty good with that. I printed off, well, and so this is a good segue. So today, guys, we are
Yeah.
going to be talking about working with digital products and like digital collections and that kind of stuff because I know that is one affordable way that you can scrapbook. I've done it quite a bit, especially when I wasn't scrapbooking very often and I felt like I wanted to buy something. I would just buy something digital and then have it. So uh, I'm building a collection of some different stuff. And, um, and so being able to print it off at home
Right.
is,
It's
it's
a
nice
little
because
bit
you need the
easier.
paper, you need more of it, you want more of it, you just print it off.
Right.
But the problem is, having a printer that can handle it
Right.
stuff. And I feel like certain companies are better than other companies. It's probably how they're saving it would be my guess.
Hmm.
And then not having the right paper. So,
Right. Right. But that is something that I have wanted to do for like a couple of years now is like open a business and do printables and things like
yeah,
that. So that is the next exciting part is we can now incorporate that excuse me into the Crafty Maven Getaway and to the website and
right.
everything. So,
I know, I'm super excited. So, and we've talked about like creating stuff on and off over the years. And been times where I'm like, yeah, that would be really cool. And then times like, I don't know if I want to put in the work to do it. But now
right.
that I've been dabbling into it, it's actually like I've been really enjoying it. I will say that it takes a lot more time than I was thinking. And like, so this is a news flash for anybody who gets all these ads that are like, oh, you can create in 10 minutes, you can create a whole collection or, 20 minutes. They're lying to you. You cannot do that, especially right off the bat.
Right.
And it's like I've had Procreate and I've created digital elements like the class that I did for Click Hits. I created a few things. Um, with Procreate years ago and just like really a couple of simple elements and stuff and cards. And even then I can see like, oh, I didn't really know what I was doing. And even now I know nothing, honestly. But it's just fun to be learning how to do it and then figuring like, okay, like yes, if you're a seasoned like designer, you can probably create stuff relatively fast. But there's a lot of like going back and fixing it. Like I've finished all the elements for February. And then I'm realizing, oh, I need to make them a little bigger because the tags aren't quite big enough and I have some labels and I feel like they could be better. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just put it on two different sheets and I can adjust it. Well, even that, like I already messed a couple of things up because I didn't
Oh, no.
save the layers the right way.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like there's a big learning curve for all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Definitely, I would anybody wanting to dabble in it, like I definitely recommend because you can do a ton of stuff just even for yourself. Like there's a lot of like planner people who will just create stickers and elements that they can add digitally. Like you don't even have to print them
Right.
honestly. But yeah, so I'm super excited now that I'm working on it and going, oh, why didn't I just do like I should have just not dug in my heels, but I dug in my heels for so long because I am
Yeah.
more of a paper person and I have a problem with going, oh, I'm gonna just buy a whole bunch of digital stuff. Like I want it's weird because I know there's a ton of people who print off digital stuff, you know, but like
Right.
in my mind, there is always this level that it's not the same. And it really, it's just different, right? And some of
Hmm.
the ladies do everything digitally. I know, who is it? Teresa, she does both. She does
Yep.
sometimes digital and then sometimes she prints stuff off and does it
Right.
that way. But there's a couple of ladies that I want to say Cheryl is one of them. I'm trying to remember what her last name is, but she does, of course,
Ashcraft.
yes. Yeah. She
Yeah.
does mostly, I think she just does exclusively digital. It's all
Yeah.
digital, which I mean, that saves the problem with the space as far as like albums go. Well, and I don't know if she prints off her layouts after she does that. So that's even something to kind of we can go into just a smidge. Um, Today's gonna be a mini episode because
Yes.
we're
Cause
sick
life.
and life. I mean, we're doing this even like if anybody can tell, it's during the day. So actually, I don't even have my overhead the little light over here. I think it looks okay. But and you're in your car because it's
Yeah. I'm
break.
in my
We're like,
car.
okay, how do we make this work? Let's try. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I think I have enough time because I know I got stuff I got to get done because this is my weekend. And so
Yeah.
well, and we have a lot of store stuff that we gotta iron out this week because I guess we can just announce it now. I've been
Yeah.
talking about it a little bit, but the Crafty Maven is a store now. And so we're going to be selling some digital stuff, so 3x4 and 4x6 cards. Not a ton, but every month we'll have a release of some stuff and then a sheet or so of elements. My daughter's creating a couple of elements and a sticker stuff, some sticker stuff. So that will be on the site. And then we are going to have a sequin mix. So I think
Ooh.
every month we'll just have about one, but and then later on, so this is the big reveal. I haven't said this to anybody like exclusive like except for like little, but I can mention it now. And then eventually we're going to be selling mixed media kits. So that's the plan. That's where we're going with all this. So, but we're going to start off with this, and we're also going to offer classes on the Crafty Maven. So we're kind of in this process of getting all of this stuff set up. So I'm hoping the store will be, we should have it ready. Because I've been working on it, but it's just getting it all linked up and everything. So the Saturday is going to be our soft launch. So it's not a big hype because we just have a few things. And some of the stuff is kind of more Valentine's Day or like that kind of theme. Not all of it though. I tried to like do a mix of stuff that you can use a whole lot of different ways. Um, So I know I've shared some of my cards when I did my kit share, so I did do that. But
Yeah.
so those should be available on Saturday, and we'll be sharing throughout the week on social media. So anybody who's watching this, this will be it should everything should be all up by the time this goes live. So um but anyway, so
Yay.
I'm excited.
I'm excited
And then
too.
definitely next month we'll be full blown and running. So
Yeah.
that was kind of we were like we thought we'd be a little bit more ready this month. And then live.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, the website was a lot harder than I thought to get it integrated with the store. I thought it was going to be a little bit easier, but I should have known better because I'm not a website designer at all. And I mean, we're lucky that Emma did our website years ago for the
Oh, I
Crafty
know.
Maven, and it looks amazing. I love it.
It
And
does.
so, like, she did a lot of it, but it's like now that I've learned stuff along the way, so I can do some stuff. It's just figuring out the like little details.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we'll have some digital stuff offered, and it's not going to be a ton. Like, I don't want to go crazy right now. Maybe eventually we'll go more into it, but there's a ton of other people who do other digital collections and stuff.
Oh,
So I don't
yeah.
want to take over their space because they, like Tracy, she has amazing stuff.
Right.
I get a lot of stuff from Salin or Sayan's designs. They have a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that I like. I think Liz, I noticed Liz Tom, who, how do you say her name?
Tomlinson? No.
No. Um, she used to do stuff with Allie, I think.
Mm.
Also, Tomahawk. Oh gosh, it starts with a T. I'm
I
butchering her
can't
name.
I can't
Everybody
remember.
is like yelling it out loud. I can just hear them, the
Yeah.
proverbial background. It's nice. I follow
Yeah.
her too. She used to do a lot of other stuff. But anyway, so she does digital stuff and I think I noticed that she's doing like digital, she's getting more back into the digital thing and it looked like she was going to start doing some collections. And there was somebody else that I noticed, a different company. Now that I've been sharing all my scrap stuff a lot more, I'm getting like a ton of new people that like are popping up
Yeah.
on my feeds and stuff and a lot more digital stuff. So
Oh, that's
that's
cool.
it's kind of fun. Well, and it's like one of the nice things is you can, buy it, download it or whatever, any of these companies, and you don't have to use it right away. You can just keep it and it doesn't take up
Right.
that much space, I feel like.
Right.
Right? So, but what stops you from using as much digital stuff
Um, well,
besides not having a printer at home?
before I was just gonna say the biggest problem was not having a printer, but um I guess just not knowing who does digital, like because I'm more in the paper, the physical product world, so
Yeah.
not knowing, like I do know the Celine Studios and, a bunch of other places, but at the same time, like, it's kind of, there's a lot of information just coming at you and it makes you
Yeah.
overwhelmed kind of sometimes, so like Tracy Reed is one of the big ones, that is really popular,
I
and Celine and
I feel like with Tracy, she's really bridged that gap that we did
right.
had because there was that big gap of like you were digital or you were,
Mhm.
it's like,
Or the
and I know
physical, yeah.
Teresa kind of tried to do that, like that a little bit. So I'm so
Yeah,
glad that she's on the design team for Tracy. But I feel
right.
like in the last, whatever, 5 years, Tracy's like has really done the work, the hard digging work, it's like
Oh
in
yeah.
that way for our industry. It would be really interesting to have her on, like, see if we could get her on and chit chat with her because I don't know her that well. Just,
I don't either, yeah.
Okay, so we have like 5 or so minutes and then we gotta
Okay.
trying to stay on track, peeps. We're trying to stay on track.
We
Which
got
is
this.
really hard for us.
I know
I
it
give
is
ourselves
so
lots
hard.
of credit because, I we've done pretty good with about staying around that hour mark or a little bit
Yeah,
under, besides the first one, but that's okay. I'm
that's a
sure
whole
everybody
nother
would love
story.
our really long ones. We just don't have the time to put in,
Hmm.
with you working, me working.
Right.
It's like, I mean, today, like I said, you're on your lunch break.
Yep. We're fitting it in.
We're fitting it in. I'm like, okay, I have time. Let's do it now.
Yep.
It's like, well, and anyway, but yeah, so I feel like Tracy's really paved the way to
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of bridge
definitely.
that gap and make it more accessible and easy for, printing at home, buying digital stuff and using it paper wise. Because a lot of the people on her team you do like print everything and then make stuff. It's very few of them actually are digital. So I feel like that's so cool. It's like we
Hmm.
got to have those people who are bridging those gaps.
Right.
And some of it's like that's the hard part and the weird part about how social media works within our industry is like some of the people who are doing it just don't get seen. I'm sure there's a ton of people who do exactly what we're talking about, but like they're just not getting seen for whatever reasons. And
Right.
so it's nice when there's people who actually get seen, like Tracy
Right. Yeah.
who then now she has a following, she has that backing now, and she creates amazing stuff. I mean, and she's always creating. I'm sure that she uses it as her therapy, like many of us do, and
Right.
stuff. And she's just very, dedicated to, making it accessible for everybody. And I know, like for me, the hard part is thinking about how to use it and in the way that I want because it's like, well, so one, I've always had the issue with print like using the die cutter to after I printed it. Like so
Right.
that's always been my big issue is like so then I have to fussy cut everything, which I don't mind sometimes, but like I don't want to sit there for 2 hours fussy cutting stuff, which is what I end up doing.
Right.
Um and so well now I don't have a die cutter at all. But
Mhm.
so that's the hard part. And I will say that that's one thing right now the Crafty Maven does not have available, and we probably won't for right now is having that other element that you can use to cut and paste. I know
Yeah.
Scraptastic have that, but theirs also was kind of finicky. Like I've tried it quite a few times and I've had
Mhm.
issues with it not lining up correctly because you have to line everything correctly
Oh,
in your system for it to print it and then cut it. So,
right. That's
well, because you
right.
print it on a printer and then you put it on your mat and you have to have it just, it's probably user error. Like, I mean, I know it's user error.
Yeah. Well, and I think that like at least with Silhouette, I know that they have kind of changed the way that it gets like the way that you can print and cut. It
hmm
has changed a lot. Like I still have a Silhouette, but I haven't used that feature in probably like 5 years or more. But I have noticed that the software does change every,
hmm
so often. And so I'm wondering if it is a lot easier
I'm
now compared
sure it
to
is.
when we used to use it.
Well, yeah, and I think when you have people, and this is like actually one of my biggest things is cutting PNGs up, like using it on your, like creating stuff and like that kind of stuff is like super popular. Like I have a
Yeah.
video that I did in Hawaii when I was learning how to do it. So I was like, I'm gonna do a video on this. And needless to say, it's always in my top 10 for the week. Or even
Really?
probably even the top five. Yeah, people constantly are looking that stuff up because it is one of those things where it's like, oh, I forgot how to do this, and so you Google it or
Right.
you YouTube it, and so that's one thing we should probably try to add to our list of videos that we're
Yeah.
on is kind of navigate that element. And I say that knowing that I'm not very good at it, but like learning it and then sharing because that information is it's invaluable Like you can't
Right.
put a price tag on that um
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's like I think that that's my biggest is like is I just don't want to take the time to cut everything. Like it's the papers are not a big deal. Like those are super easy. You can just print them off. I will say
I
sometimes the color is off from what it looks like on your screen to the computer, but I think that's a paper issue like we were just talking about is
Mhm.
that you can't just pop in whatever kind of paper. I found that with my printer, actually using the cheap smooth cards like 8 by 11 cardstock has been the best.
Oh,
Given me the best results with digital elements or things that I've printed off from digital collections or whatever.
yeah. That's
So,
interesting.
yeah. Well, and I think sometimes that we forget, and I've noticed this even with my collection from for February, is that if it's really light, it doesn't show up as well on your cards. And so some of the digital stuff that I've bought in the past had lighter
Okay.
muted colors, and so they just don't translate as well when you print them
Yeah.
off. They look fine on your computer, like if you're going to use them digitally, I'm sure it's fine, but because when you're printing it, it's just a lot more muted. So it's
Yeah.
harder for your computer to kind of work that out. So it's just sometimes knowing those little things I think is helpful because then you can go, okay, well, I'm going to stay away from this, or I'm going to know that this is not going to, it's going to be muted. And so, because it's a light pink.
Right.
And so, being particular about what projects you use it on. And I actually use it a lot more on like project life stuff because that's a
Mhm.
lot of what some of the company, like the Lily Pad, they have a lot of stuff for project life. And I feel like that makes it easier because I can
Yeah.
find different cards for what I want and
True.
stuff. So, anyway, well, and eventually we talked about having with the Crafty Maven be printing it out for people who don't have that ability to do
Right.
that and offering it for people. And I think that's a great idea because I think that bridges also the gap that there is
Hmm.
that need that some people just don't either want to do it, they don't have the time to do it, or they don't have the printer to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and not all printers are the same. Like my older printers, it would use so much ink. Where like
Hmm.
these Inco tanks, they work so much better. They use a lot. The ink ratio is different, so you can
Right.
get way more pages out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I change the ink like once a year
Yeah.
I have to re-ink it. And
And
that's
that
printing
I am
tons of school stuff for my kids, like tons of like curriculum.
I
So,
am so excited about that part
yeah.
because like the printer that Ashley and I did have, like it was like $60 for the ink and then you would use it for like a month and then it would be gone.
Yeah.
And you're like, but wait, like I just paid $60 for all this ink. Like
Yeah, when I was printing pictures, well, in the past with other printers, I went through I had to get ink pretty much almost every month
that's
because
so
when you're printing
crazy.
pictures all the
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I think we're gonna conclude this, and we should definitely maybe like piggyback this at some point later down the road,
Definitely.
maybe next month or whatever as we like really launch. Um, more of the digital stuff and kind
Yeah.
of do like I said, do like some kind of tutorials. I think that would be kind of fun to add elements because it's like that's one of the things that I want the Crafty Maven. I want to have those elements that we've had before in the past, like with the different styles and the different like themes and kind of
Right.
like using that as inspiration and a jumping off point for moving forward as we change and grow the Crafty Maven. So,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
so excited because I know we've talked so much over the years of like what we could do with it. And I've always kind of been hesitant and like, I don't know, it's not the right time. And then I just realized this year, I'm like, there's never going to be a right time. And I
Right.
love this industry. And if I don't make the effort to, change and grow with the industry and do like put myself more out there, like, how can I expect other people to do that? And then it's like, and it is changing so much. It's like, how can I grow and offer more for everybody, you know? So
Yeah.
all while enjoying what I love the most. So
Right.
I'm excited because
Yeah.
I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah. I know. I'm
You're like
excited
Kevin from Home
too.
Alone. Do you hear me? I'm not afraid anymore. Not to say that I was necessarily afraid, but I think I just
Right.
kind of there is that little like, like how is it going to go? And I mean, it takes time to grow a business, so I am fully aware of that. We've had tons of friends like Beth who
Oh yeah.
worked their butt off doing their business, and then COVID happens and life changes, and you kind of have to change your goals. But I think that I'm ready for, this other part of my life too. And so,
Yep.
yeah.
Me too. Right there with you, bestie. And then it
Okay.
takes a bestie to do it with
It
you that like
does. It does.
really gets you in
You
gear.
need a lot of support. And like, that's where
Yeah.
like, like my husband, he goes on and he's been commenting on the stuff. So hopefully that's
Hmm.
helping get things going. And,
Yeah.
and it takes a bestie who will listen and brainstorm and be like, hey, I know you wanted to launch here, but maybe we should kind of like hold back. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But I'm still so excited that I want people to have stuff. And,
Right.
and I also, it's like, I have something to offer. I'm like, so how can we compromise on it,
Right.
and stuff. So yeah, our big launch is going to be March 15th, I think is the date. I think that's the date, the 14th or 15th, one of those. So we'll start running ads for the big launch, and then we'll have more in the store too.
Right.
Um, and
Yay.
I've bought in the sequence for next month. So like all that kind of stuff is already working. And so I'm excited about
Woohoo.
adding different elements into the sequin mix because that's one of the things that I want to do is I just don't want like I know Shimmers does sequins now and I feel there's probably a couple other places that do some packs, but
There's a
I want to make
lot.
ours more mixed media friendly. So I definitely want to add some elements into our sequin mixes that make it different and unique. So we're not like everybody else. And that's not going to be our big highlight. I'm not planning on
No.
doing a ton, even though I'm sure with Spiegel Mom Scraps and Jody not being part of the table now, which I
Community.
get.
Yeah.
Like she's been doing it for so many years. I'm sure, she's ready to do other things. And I'm super excited to see all this stuff. I know they're doing a ton of like making other cool craft stuff. So her and her
Mm.
girls. So it's super
Yeah.
fun to see how things change. But, anyway.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway. Okay, so we're gonna
Exciting.
head out today, guys.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us on this like mini episode. Probably the next couple of weeks are going to be, well, and actually, no, this next one I think will be a little bit bigger, but we're going to be talking about like getting ready for vacations and that kind of stuff because I'm going on a little trip and I know like you just came, well, I say you just came back. In the summer,
I went on one.
you went
Yeah.
on a vacation. So I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about like, in the winter as we're all cold and thinking about vacation times
Right.
like talking about like some of the different elements of like what goes into like what do you take, how do you prepare like even ahead of time like that element of like picture taking and like how are you gonna do that so that when you get back you set yourself up for success on scrapbooking your projects because I know that's always the disconnect is always like when I
Yeah.
come back. So
Yep.
I think that'll be fun to kind of hit that. But anyway, have a great day,
Yeah.
Megan. Enjoy the
Thanks.
rest of
You
your work
too.
day. I'm hoping to get some stuff done today.
You got
So
this.
I got
You
it.
got this.
So
We're
we'll
gonna
see you
do it.
guys later and have a great scrappy week. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. It went back. Geesh. I should have just hit 20. All right. You ready?
Yep. I'm ready.
Okay. Hello, Crafty Mavens.
Hello. Hello.
Okay. Are you gonna be okay, Sadie? I had to separate them because She's
I was gonna say,
all
did Sadie
hyperness.
get in trouble?
Yeah. Well, not like super in trouble, but she's a husky. All right.